Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
And I'm Bob. Happy Friday.
Welcome back to our Top 5 Fridays ski industry news videos. Big week for development news this week. You excited for some development?
Yeah, lots of building going on.
Were you just checking that your microphone's on?
It's on.
Is it on?
Yep.
Mine's also on.
Nice.
We're in great shape here. Before we get to that, just a couple housekeeping things. Probably the biggest thing to talk about this week is we have a new clearance section on our website, which I'm very excited about. I think
everyone should be excited about it. There's some amazing deals.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And it's not like the deals are necessarily new, although we are offering an extra 20% off on basically anything in the clearance. The prices just got tweaked a little bit for this promotional period. But what I'm kind of most excited about is I think people know that Ski Essentials is a place that they can find really good deals on skis and equipment. But sometimes it gets to the point where there are so many that it's hard to just browse or sift through all the different options. Like there's 1,000+ products in our outlet, and that's just, not overwhelming, but it can be a lot to sort through. Yeah. And this clearance section is really going to be like the best deals on the site, period. So nothing that we think is not, doesn't qualify for a clearance tag won't make it into the clearance section. So it's just a really quick and convenient way for people to find the biggest discounts and the best prices.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. That said, now our outlet and our 2025, right now it's the 2025 price drops page, those are home to different stuff. Not many, I can't think of any 2025 ski that would qualify for the clearance section yet. So I think that's just a good way to kind of think about the differences if you're wondering. In addition to that, we're still running our tariff-free price guarantees, whether you want to pre-order a ski if you know what you already want, or we're also offering that $100 coupon that locks in your price. So the way that works is you buy the $100 coupon, somebody from our customer service department will email you really quickly with an actual $100 coupon that you can use as just a normal coupon. That also guarantees that when you're ready to buy a 2026 ski or snowboard, if the prices have increased, we will give you the original price. So kind of cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have taken advantage of it. So thanks to everybody who's thinking of us and putting their trust in us.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
Sure does.
And then on the content side, pretty fun week for content.
Speaking of 2026 skis.
Yeah, you could pre-order either one of these skis. Or both.
Yeah.
That would be fine too. Anyways, on the content side, we did another ski test behind the scenes video. This time, I think the first one that we did from day 3. I did skip a couple things from day 2 because I thought the Ripstick 88 video was quite fun.
Yeah.
So went with that one this week. And then we did a Maverick 88 CTI review 2 days ago, and then that Octo review yesterday. So take a look at those if you haven't seen them yet. And that's all I got. You ready for news?
Yeah, let's see what type of development we got.
Double-sided news topic number 1.
Must be a huge development.
We're going to talk about the Killington Development plans. So this has been big news for a while. We've talked about it several times. I was part of a Facebook conversation yesterday, and there were some reasonably upset people, or relatively, I don't think it was reasonable, relatively upset people, and I understand. So
like
it
a
is
text you were participating in a
I got caught up in a comment section, and there were some people understandably maybe not upset, but worried, and we'll talk about that stuff towards the end of this topic. But Burlington Free Press published an in-depth look at the future of Killington. It really is an in-depth look, so if you're really interested in this, I would encourage you to read the whole article, because we're only going to summarize this, but Killington has new owners. I think everybody knows that. That's not breaking news by any means. They're not even really like new anymore.
Right.
It's been a while. They are partnered with a real estate company. It's a Canadian real estate company called Great Gulf on a massive development project. Like they want to build a massive, massive village filled with restaurants, real estate, amphitheaters, 2,300 housing units or residential units. So massive, massive scale. The last time that we talked about it, they were estimating a $3 million budget.
Billion.
What did I say, million?
Yeah.
Yeah, way more than that. A $3 billion budget. Now it's risen to a $5 billion budget, so almost doubling, but doesn't sound like anybody is backing away. They're going to call it the Live Killington Village with, like I said, 2,300 residential units. And similarly, a couple different numbers here that I saw. Matt put in our article that they aim to hire 2,300 construction workers. That was specific to Great Gulf, but I also saw a number in the article that it was going to create 3,800 construction jobs, which sounds more accurate. Who knows?
I don't know how many people it takes to build something like that.
Me neither. But Killington would become the largest resort and village in the East. It's really already the largest resort, at least from like what, skiable acres?
Yeah, and I would say
and
certainly
skier
from
traffic?
skier traffic.
Yeah. So it's already kind of the biggest, but this would match a village to the size of the resort or size of the mountain. And the thing that most people have been concerned about are infrastructure issues. So this is where we flip over to the other side of our page. And this is what people were concerned about in the comment section that I was on, is that it was putting a tax burden on the town, because the town does need to increase infrastructure to support this, namely access road and water supply. And this is being done through what's called tax increment financing, or TIF or TIF. And essentially what happens here is it allows a town to raise financing capital through a bond, which would be paid back by the increased property taxes from the development. So it's not raising taxes on existing citizens.
Like a normal Killington resident wouldn't be charged more in this
Correct.
example.
Correct. They're essentially using the future revenue from, 2,300 residential units and an amphitheater and all of those properties that will eventually generate tax revenue. And then, that kind of retroactively pays back the bond. So I totally understand how somebody could perceive it as tax revenue or taxpayer dollars being allocated in a way that they don't necessarily agree with, but you can't, the way that my mind works, you can't really think about it like that, because the money wouldn't exist. Those increased tax, or the increased tax revenue wouldn't exist if you didn't do the development.
Right.
So it's not taking away from any existing entity, it's taking from future entities that wouldn't work if the tax incremental financing didn't go through. Are we good? Did you got it? Did I explain that well enough?
I got it. Yeah, I mean, not everyone likes progress on this scale.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think it's interesting to think about where the money is actually coming from.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it here in Stowe. It's taken over 20 years to make the Spruce Peak thing come to reality, and they're still not done.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, and they built it, and they did a good job, and people are there, and it's been massively successful in driving people to the resort.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and if anything, this is a whole nother scale.
It seems like times 10.
I mean, it dwarfs any development that has happened here in Stowe. So, time will tell.
Good luck to Killington.
I think we're going to be talking about this for another 20 years.
Yeah.
You got 20 years in you, or you moving to Arizona before then?
Yeah, I'll be gone.
Anyways, if you're curious, the amount that they need to raise for the infrastructure improvements is $47 million.
It's just a sliver of a $5 billion.
Chump change compared to $5 billion. Yeah. So pretty interesting, and definitely one that we'll be watching, especially because it hits pretty close to home for us. And then topic number 2 is another one that hits pretty close to home for us. Burke Mountain has new owners. The Bear Den Partners have bought Burke for $11.5 million. This is made up of a small group of local investors that happens to include Burke Mountain Academy, which I think is very cool. I think the idea of a ski academy being a part owner of the mountain, I think that's awesome.
Think of like Spruce Peak here at Stowe, just the ski mountain, not the resort.
Yeah,
but
sure.
like the Mount Mansfield Academy
If
could
they
have
part owned.
Yeah,
Spruce Peak.
Yeah,
Totally.
And Burke's bigger, but it's not. They're not totally different in terms of
aside from like
mountains.
a potential reduction in terrain if they allocate more terrain to the academy, I don't see a potential downside to it, which is kind of cool. And speaking of terrain, they have already announced development plans to the tune of $30 million, including tripling the snowmaking capacity already for next season, which is really cool, and then also to expand skiable terrain. So, if they're expanding skiable terrain by 30%, and then Burke Mountain Academy gets an extra 15%, that's still a net gain for everybody involved.
You don't hear a lot of like terrain expansion here in the east. It's like Loon did it. Sunday River, over the years has done it, but not lately.
Yeah.
So it's pretty rare that you hear of terrain expansion around here.
Do I ever talk to you about my Stowe visions? I don't know.
I'm sure we talk about it. I don't know what specifically you're.
I don't know
who
owns the land. Maybe you do, but
I don't own it.
Oh, well, I thought there was
thought I
potential.
could help.
I thought there was potential for you owning it. No, maybe you have knowledge of who owns it. So going back to Spruce, and forgive us if you don't know the area, but maybe this is interesting to you too. If you're standing at the bottom of the sensation lift, or if you're standing at the academy or at the on snow building for MMA, everything lookers right.
Yeah.
So like everything lookers right to the sensation quad. That just seems like perfect expansion territory. And it looks like really like mellow intermediate terrain.
Yeah.
Which like if anything, Stowe could use more mellow intermediate terrain.
Certainly Spruce. It's
totally.
either flat or straight down.
Yeah, and if you could it would get tons of sun.
Yep.
It would be like mellow terrain. It doesn't get particularly windy over there. It's like in kind of like a little pocket. So I've always thought that would be cool.
All
also,
right.
while we're on the topic, just move the parks to the toll house area.
Yeah, and bring back that T-bar that used to do that bottom pitch.
Lift. There's already
the line is there. We got lots of ideas.
I got lots of ideas. If anybody from Stowe wants to take a meeting, or really probably like Vail Resorts.
You're going to find yourself on more boards.
Yeah. I'm going to work on that one, though. What board do I have to get onto? The Vail Resorts Development Board?
There must be one.
I might qualify. I'm a former employee. Anyways, moving on. Third topic of the week. The U.S. ski and snowboard team has released, and I definitely wrote this down because it's long, the Performance Task Force White Paper, a playbook for the U.S. Alpine Development System. Essentially, the U.S. ski and snowboard team wants to become the best ski and snowboard team or the best national team in the world. Obviously, speaking historically, they have not been. We've talked about it a lot in recent years that they're like, it feels like we're on a good path.
Well, we hit the highs.
Yeah,
but we don't have.
Well, like I feel like this year we had like
section.
there were a lot of races where we had like 4 or 5 people in the finals results in the points, which just feels like a lot for the U.S. team. But anyways, this is charting a course to win the overall Nations Cup, something that the U.S. has never done. It is a 17-page document with a number of different goals and plans to achieve them. One of them, which is interesting, kind of based off conversations that we've had here on Top 5 Fridays, is they are planning to integrate NCAA racing with the U.S. Alpine Development System. That is something that has not happened particularly well in the past and has been a bit messy.
I mean, it's pretty tough. College sports really affect how the professional levels.
Yeah.
Every sport has a different way of integrating its either minor league system or its development program into professionals, and it's certainly worth a look to see if collegiate racing is the best way through or if there's a different way to do it.
Yeah. I have not read the entire 17-page document in full disclosure.
Me either.
That is a big commitment, and I don't know that I'm going to. But I would certainly encourage one of you to read the entire 17-page document, and if there's anything interesting that you find in it, let us know. But I like that it exists.
Yeah, and I think it's just still not really part of our
culture
as a country.
It's a part of like sections of our culture, but smaller sections.
Yeah. So I think it needs to be more widespread.
We just need like 7 more Michaela Schifrins.
Right, and like skiing can't cost $1 million for a family over the course of a lifetime. It's just
fair.
It's too expensive.
So 7 more Michaela Schifrins and reduce the cost of the barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think so.
Okay. Fourth topic of the week, a new agreement has paved the way for the expansion of Colorado's ski train. That was our esteemed colleague Matt's title. I thought that lays the track, maybe, considering it's a railway conversation. Anyways, Colorado Governor Jared Polis, he's wanted to expand the Amtrak Winter Park Express. This week, Colorado signed a pretty important agreement to make that happen with Union Pacific. Union Pacific owns the tracks that run into basically everywhere in downtown Denver. The agreement itself surrounds the use of the Moffett Tunnel, which the Union Pacific used to pay $12,000 a year for use of that tunnel. I think it's like a 6-mile long tunnel. Pretty substantial.
Seems like a good deal.
I know. I thought that too.
Yeah, to rework that contract.
Like what year was this contract signed? The 40s?
Yeah, that's a bargain.
Crazy. Anyways,
with my extensive knowledge
of railways,
of railroad tunnels and rent costs.
Yeah. This new agreement allows for 25 years of use of the tunnel in exchange for Colorado being able to run 3 trains per day on Union Pacific's tracks. So essentially no more monetary exchange, just a use exchange, which makes sense to me. That means Colorado can now take the next steps in developing the 230 miles of connection that are required to go from Denver to Steamboat, while also continuing access to Winter Park.
Yeah, but nothing going west. It seems like I-70 west, past whatever that exit is for Winter, what is it, like Berthoud Pass and Winter Park, I forget exactly, but
yeah.
Once you get past that, that's a lot more traffic too.
You're talking car traffic.
Yeah, that could feasibly be replaced with
train.
Well,
maybe someday, Bob. Yeah. I feel like it would have Polar Express vibes, a train that went up over the Continental Divide.
Yeah. Oh, longer tunnels, I guess.
I'm here for it. Yeah, or underneath.
Yeah.
Again, don't know that much about trains. And then lastly, we have our edits of the week. First one is Fly to Ski from Maxime Chablot. Looks really, really cool. They basically skied 2 different peaks without like driving or hiking, and they just flew.
Yeah, it's an efficient way to do it.
Paragliding.
Yeah.
Also, Matt was very confused about upslope and paragliding.
Like capturing upslope winds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was like, I don't understand, doesn't gravity exist? And I was like, yes, does. The warm air goes up the mountain and then people fly.
Yeah. Has he not been on a plane? Know how wings work?
Planes have engines.
I know, but they also have lift.
That's slightly different because they have forward thrust.
But the wind provides the opposite of that. The wind is the engine for...
The wind is the engine for
Yeah.
Is it parasailing or paragliding?
I'm not even going to venture a guess.
Which one has a motor? Does one of those have a motor?
I don't know.
Okay. Because, anyways, really cool. And people do that at Burke. Burke is like a world-class destination for upslope winds.
I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh, you got to go to Burke in the summer and watch everyone fly around.
Okay.
It's sweet. Anyways, second edit, we've got Jib League Season 3, Episode 2.3. This is still out of copper, and this is kind of the one that wraps up that whole event, and just incredible. And I love the way that they put these together. There's no fancy editing involved. It's just trick after trick after trick after trick with the name of the skier and good music.
Yeah.
And it just, like, it's really kind of satisfying to see that. Then we've got Night Shift from Evan Daigle. Pretty cool. Some nighttime skiing. And then we've got 2 days of full send from 74 Geordie, who has become pretty well known on the internet for just going massive on skis. And I thought it was particularly noteworthy that he does it on an Elan Playmaker 101, which is not well regarded as the most stable ski in the world, but
Maybe he needs lighter skis for massive hang time.
well, I talked about it. I think specifically with the Playmaker is there's forgiveness on landing.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to hit a 100-foot jump and land in the back seat on a stiff
Right.
ski.
Right.
It's just not that fun. It's gonna really, really hurt. So, I'm a big Playmaker 101 fan, so it was cool to see it in action here. And Bob, that's all I got.
I think we did it.
Yeah. So, not sure what we're going to do for content next week. We're waiting on some assets from Marker and some other things, but we have a lot to share with you. I think I did a social media post this week just saying, like, I know we put out a lot of content in this season, but it truly is hard to explain how much you haven't seen. So, lots and lots more to share.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for whatever comes next week, and hope you all have a fantastic weekend.
Bye.